Well, hello everybody. We are done with the first part of our Polar Vortex 2024. We are going to get another little bit of a plunge down to like 19 degrees. I'm going to turn so you guys can actually see me. Friday morning, Saturday morning, I believe it is. By Sunday, we're going to be out of all this. We're going to be back in the 50s, and we're going to have rain for like a week in a row, which will be great to get some of these guys out of their damage. To allow them to get some water and get moving again and start growing. So, how did everyone do? I've been seeing damage reports from our friends up in Tennessee. Got like -6 degrees, got walloped up there. We ended up at our low was 9.9 degrees, which is almost a degree colder than last year. By last year, I mean Winter Storm 2022. Yeah. Let's go walk around, take a look. So I haven't uncovered everything. There's a couple of things that I just will not uncover yet. Our Butea jubea. Well, actually, all the things that are covered, I'm just going to leave alone. And I'm going to do a video as a surprise, kind of unveiling how everyone looks. I'm hoping things look okay. So, in the back corner over here, I have our jubea Butea. Left it alone. Our Brahia armata, I actually peeked under there, and it actually looks very, very good. It's tiny. I'll show you after it's uncovered. Our Folifera, our DFW Folifera, I am hopeful this one actually looks good, and it should double in size this year, and then we'll never have to ever do this again. Here's a Brazoriensis. This is about the extent of the damage you can see. A little bit of brown on the end, but actually overall, this thing looks fantastic, and that's the older growth. The new growth is fine. So the Brazoriensis over here in North Texas are absolutely fully hardy. Here's a palmetto that I've never done anything with. This one got beaten up, and I need to come through here and take care of all this. But the exposed spear, mind you, I bought this thing from the same person, planted at the same time, literally 10 feet away from, check this thing out. This is a palmetto, like I said, bought from the same source, a regular palmetto, nothing special, bought out of North Carolina. I've never protected either of these two. This is where it's interesting to watch what happens when you get to a genetics. I think we have a really good specimen here. This thing literally was uncovered, was untouched. 9.9 degrees. This is over the summertime. This is just the drought, ironically enough. But look at this, folks. Even the tips aren't burned. This is like new growth too. This is a garden of variety palmetto. This thing looks awesome. Look at this. I am shocked at how good this thing looks. I've never done much to this thing. But I'll tell you what, though, this year, I'm going to come through here, I'll clean up this bed, and I'm actually going to spend a lot more time on this thing because this thing has gotten my attention now. This is awesome. I'm stoked. I hope this thing seeds, and I hope we can go ahead and propagate this thing because I think this thing has some hardiness to it. Our Trachycarpus Fortunae that went through 2021 unprotected had to be trunk cut down over here. As you can see, this is all new. This guy looks fine. I don't really think I'm so worried about it. I mean, even the internal spears actually look really, really good. I'm not worried about this guy. I think he's been through hell and back. He should be fine. Our big Brazoriensis by the pool, which I value a lot, looks much better than it did yesterday. Yesterday, when it was still under freezing, he was not very happy, but I think the leaves have plumped up. Had a little bit of damage on the older fronds right here at the top, but all the new growth you could see, it's basically completely unscathed. Just like, yeah, this is all the older growth over here. But just like his neighbor, just 20 feet away or ish, he looks very, very good. But I would expect that. We've never covered him or done anything. So these palms are completely hardy here in North Texas. Even leaf hardy. These are minors. These all looked not good yesterday. But again, I think just being in some warmer weather, over 32, helps. This is a Birmingham. This thing actually suffered way more foliar damage than I was expecting. And what's interesting is I'll show you this Birmingham. I want to say this is its year number 2 here, but this thing suffered a bit of damage for a Birmingham. I'm surprised. It grew fast last year. It put out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spears and fronds. But what's interesting is if I walk I have 18 of these Birminghams on this property from the same person, same source, bought at the exact same time. That one was just bought as a 5-gallon. These were bought as tiny little liners. We're not very far, guys. I mean, that thing's right here. And you go over here, this is the exact same lineage, same parent, same everything. This thing has been in the ground here since the end of February 2021 after our big winter storm. So this thing is overwintered in the ground, has hardened in the ground, and this thing literally has no visible damage whatsoever. It looks like nothing even happened. I love these. I have 150 of these in seedling form in the garage. This is a fantastic palm. So this thing is completely hardy here. It looks great. I love it. This is the Rosy Eye. I will be unboxing, not unboxing, opening up, uncovering, if you will, on probably Sunday around 11 o'clock. So come back and tune in. This thing, I don't want to spoil it, but I looked underneath. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised at what just a basic frost cloth does to something that people say is not hardy. This is my Bermudanas. These things have done this every single year. This is not leaf hardy in North Texas. I'm sorry. I love Bermudanas, and if they perish someday, which they may, I'll replace them with something that is leaf hardy. This is a Urasana. This is again interesting. So I have a Urasana. I'll walk you through. I have 2 from another source that get smoked. They got smoked last year. They got smoked this time around. I mean, they look basically like the Bermudana over there, but they grow at half the speed. They're painfully slow. This Urasana I got from a different source, a reputable individual as well. And this thing was uncovered. And look at this thing. This has been in the ground now 3 years, I want to say. Hasn't done very much, but it probably will this year. But what's interesting is literally probably about 100 feet away. It did this last year. Yesterday, it was all shriveled up, and it just looked like it had all the life was just sucked out of it. This time around, just a day later, it plumps up, and this thing has a little bit of spotting, but nothing I would say that's major. We'll see what this thing is as it grows up. It's beginning to get some speed, but I'm optimistic that this thing is really, this is the extent of its damage. I mean, it's not very bad, guys. So we'll come back and pay attention to this one. This is our Lisa. Just like the Lisa in front, actually, these are older leaves. This thing has been slow. This is from last year's damage. This is all last year. So this year, here's the storm. Lost a little bit of color. But by and large, this thing looks pretty good, to be honest with you. Spear is stiff. These Lisas seem to do really well. I don't know if it's the sighting or what. Here's a Mexicana, just like my older Mexicana did many years ago. These things get smoked in the weather, in this. Not leaf hardy as they're younger. But I'll show you what our big one looks like that has been through now 2 or 3 winters as a 15-gallon. It looks different. Here's a Louisiana, as you can imagine. No visible damage whatsoever. Just like all the other ones that are the same lineage. There's a Tamaulipas. Actually, looks like not a whole lot happened. Seems very happy. It's a Bald Head Island palmetto. This thing was planted small. Looks like not a lot happened. There's a Maritima, which was totally plump and happy. As you can imagine, got smoked. We'll see if it comes back. This is a Serenoa repens. Covered it with a bucket, and that's about it. We'll see. Last year it did fine at 10 degrees. I've been watering everybody because it's a beautiful day. It's over 60 today. Before we get the 19 degrees this next time, I want to get everybody hydrated. Emerald Isle Giant, no damage as expected. Emerald Isle Giant, no damage as expected. Arbutia jubea, I haven't even looked under this thing. I pray that this thing looks awesome because last year it barely suffered anything at 10 degrees with the same config. This is a minor of Warren, Arkansas, getting smothered or eaten alive by these canna lilies that just had collapsed. Our bananas, big, frozen, dead sticks that have to get pulled out. Sad. The other Trachycarpus that had made it through 21 unprotected looks the same, and I think these are fine. These have earned a spot here. Some of the older leaves, older fronds are damaged, but I don't really care. This thing has earned a spot here. Never spear pulled. This thing's tough. This is a Birmingham. You can see, actually, ironically enough, another source of Birmingham. This thing actually grew. It opened up a frond, which is very, very, very crazy. This is a minor that was planted as a single strap leaf, a seedling, in the ground, has taken 2 winters unprotected. Looks great. So I firmly believe if you get things actually started early, allow them to understand our winters, you'll harden them off. This is our big minor, or Louisiana, whatever you want to call it. This thing's a beast. It's getting huge. Look at that, guys. I mean, talk about what storm. This is old. This is like 2-year-old growth. The new growth, not a thing. It's actually beginning to get its nice little split. Its minor split. Look, it looks great. I love this thing. I don't really care what it is because it's so close to our outdoor kitchen. The fact that I never have to worry about covering it or doing anything, it's probably a good thing that this turned out to be minor and nothing else, or Louisiana. We'll see as it grows, but this thing looks great, everybody. 10 degrees does not phase it. 9 degrees doesn't phase it. Several days under freezing doesn't phase it. It looks great. I love this thing. This is our bigger Mexicana, and like I said, in years past, this thing got smoked just like this, all the way around, just like the other one I showed you. But the newer growth that is just from last year actually looks reasonably good, still holding up. So I think these things, as they're in the ground and as they live here longer, I think they harden up. So we'll see what this looks like in a week or two. But so far, it's pretty promising. Actually looks reasonably good. We'll see. We shall see. This thing's picking up its speed. Our bigger Louisiana, Alligator Alley. This thing doesn't even care. It's like doesn't even know that it was a cold storm. It's opening up a frond out of the spear. It looks great. Older growth over here. Small Mexicana. Like I said, when they're younger, they get smoked. But I think you're going to see lots of differences once we get past some rain. Now the Black Berniana over here, very curious. Yeah, see, this guy suffered this damage, same as last year. But last year, he crisped up immediately, the whole thing. Right now, this doesn't look that bad. So we'll see. This guy grew only just 2 or 3 spears this year. So we'll see. This is his new growth. His new growth is still very, very solid and intact. So I think he'll outgrow this. And then if these guys can go ahead and handle 10 degrees, then so be it. But I'm surprised at the Mexicana. Actually looks pretty decent. I'm hopeful. Hardening this thing off. This thing saw negative 2.6, a week under freezing in 21 unprotected as like a 10 gallon maybe. So this guy's my stud. Can't wait to see him come back and roar back. A black Berniana over here, no damage. So Plant Delights, is it a black Berniana? Who knows? But it handles the cold like a champ. Our Butia, our rescue, it's still under wraps. I will show everybody on Saturday or on Sunday. Here's a Birmingham, much like the one over there. No visible damage. These are great. These are awesome genetics. They live in West Texas. That's where the parent is. Sees awful, awful weather and never flinches. So these are great. I got a bunch of these, over 150. This is a Brazoriensis. Didn't look great yesterday at like 38 degrees. Well, I mean, I don't know who would. But as the sun happens, as it gets all warmer, its spear opens up and separates, and it's already growing. So these are great. These Brazoriensis is the blue form. It's completely hardy here in North Texas. Leaf hardy and all. And grows actually pretty quickly. What else? Walk you guys around. Oh, I have my stuff up toward the house. So our protection on the Nanoprops. I will uncover this one on Sunday as well. I have high hopes. Even if it, had a spear pull, it did that last year and it came back. This Miamiensis looks awesome. I mean, literally looks fantastic. Very, very little damage foliarly. This Louisiana, a young one, been in the ground 2 years, getting slow to take off. That's all it saw as damage. A McCurtain minor. You should expect this thing to have absolutely no cares in the world. Chamrops, Humulus var serifera. Oh, already a spear pull. Look at that. It did that last year. Yeah, these are just not. And you know what? It was a dry event. This thing will be replaced by like a minor or something. Just tired of these things. A spear pull. If it doesn't come back, I'll replace it. So that's it, guys. I will do more videos, but this is day, 4, 5. I don't even know. We're past the worst of it. This is how the yard looks. Palms are waking up. The sun is coming out. Our bees are out. The honeybees are out. But still, ironically enough, you can see there is ice on the waterfall. So it's still not warm enough that it's melted everything. But we're getting there, guys. Come back on over the weekend on Sunday, where I will unwrap the big ones, and we'll see the great reveal and see what they look like. But in general, the results are as I expected. The ones that are not leaf hardy, I will note in the spreadsheet I keep, the ones I have to sell. And the ones that are leaf hardy, we'll continue to grow them. We'll continue to trial them and see how they do over the long term. So come back, everybody. I appreciate everybody being involved in this, and hope everybody is warm and past the storms. See you, everybody.